Here's a psychological truth you're not ready to face. The reason your life feels empty is not because something is missing. It's because everything you've been chasing was never meant to fill you. And deep down, you already know that. You just don't want to admit it. Because if this is true, then everything you've been working for, everything you've been waiting for, everything you told yourself would finally make you feel complete was a lie your own mind created to keep you moving. And now you're here, still searching, still waiting, still feeling like something is off. Before we go deeper, take a second. If this kind of content speaks to you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who also feels like something about life doesn't make sense anymore. Because what you're about to hear, most people spend their entire lives avoiding. There's a pattern almost no one notices. You're always focused on the next step, the next goal, the next version of your life. When I get that job, when I make more money, when I find the right person, when I finally fix myself. And for a moment, it works. You feel something, excitement, hope, meaning. But then it fades, and you're back where you started, empty again. So you create another goal, another version of the future, another illusion to chase. Psychologists would call this a loop of projected fulfillment. But you don't need a technical term to recognize it. You've lived it, over and over again. And what's worse, this pattern doesn't just affect your goals, it shapes your relationships, your self-worth, the way you see your entire life. Because no matter what you achieve, it never feels like enough. Think about it carefully. Why do you always feel like something is missing? Why does satisfaction disappear so quickly? Why do you sabotage things that were supposed to make you happy? Why does life feel like it's always slipping through your fingers, no matter how hard you try to hold it together? These are not random feelings, they are signals. Something deeper is happening. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most people stop here. They feel the discomfort, they sense that something is wrong, and instead of going deeper, they distract themselves. More content, more noise, more goals, more stimulation. And that's exactly why nothing changes. Because the real problem isn't outside, it's inside the way your mind is wired to deal with reality. Your brain is designed to keep you moving, not satisfied. It rewards anticipation more than achievement. It gives you just enough pleasure to keep you chasing, but never enough to make you stop. And the more you become aware of this, the worse it feels. That's why knowledge doesn't always bring peace. Sometimes it brings weight. There's a reason why thinkers like Schopenhauer said that increased awareness leads to increased suffering. The more you understand life, the more you see its limits. The more you see its limits, the harder it becomes to ignore the emptiness behind everything. Even Solomon, a man who had access to everything, wealth, knowledge, power, pleasure, came to the same conclusion. He tried to understand everything, studied everything, experienced everything, and in the end he said something disturbing. The more he knew, the heavier life became. Knowledge didn't fill the void, it exposed it. And then he tried something else, pleasure. If knowledge couldn't satisfy him, maybe experience would. So he allowed himself everything, no restrictions, no limits, wealth, relationships, indulgence, stimulation, and yet the result was the same. Temporary satisfaction, followed by a deeper emptiness. This is the part no one wants to admit. Pleasure doesn't solve emptiness, it delays it, and over time it makes it worse. Because the more you consume, the less sensitive you become. What once felt exciting becomes normal. What satisfied you becomes boring, and now you need more. More intensity, more novelty, more extremes, and still it's not enough. There's even research showing that after a certain point, more money doesn't increase happiness. In fact, it can reduce it. Because once you can have anything, nothing feels valuable anymore. Desire loses its meaning when everything is accessible. That's why a child can feel more joy from a simple piece of candy than an adult feels from something far more expensive. Scarcity creates meaning, excess destroys it. But here's the deeper layer, the one almost no one dares to explore. The reason nothing in this world satisfies you is not because you're broken, it's because you were never designed to be satisfied by this world in the first place. There is something inside you that doesn't belong here, a kind of awareness, a kind of longing, a sense that no matter what you experience, it's not enough. And that's not a flaw, that's a signal. Solomon described it in a simple but powerful way. Eternity was placed inside the human heart. Think about that for a second. You crave things that don't exist in your current reality. Permanent peace, lasting fulfillment, a life without loss, without decay, without endings. Even if you don't believe in anything beyond this world, you still feel that desire. You still wish it were real. And that creates a question that's hard to ignore. How can you desire something that doesn't exist? In nature, every hunger corresponds to something real. Hunger corresponds to food, thirst corresponds to water, the need for connection corresponds to other people. So what does this deeper longing correspond to? Why do you feel the absence of something you've never experienced? This is where everything shifts, because maybe the emptiness you feel is not a problem to be fixed, but a clue to be understood. You've been trying to fill it with achievements, relationships, knowledge, pleasure, but what if none of these were ever meant to fill it? What if they were only temporary experiences, small glimpses, small tastes, not the ultimate answer? That would explain why nothing lasts, why every high fades, why every achievement loses its meaning, why every relationship, no matter how good, still leaves a space untouched. And if that's true, then your entire strategy for dealing with life has been backwards. You don't feel empty because you don't have enough. You feel empty because you're trying to use finite things to fill something that feels infinite. And here's the reality most people avoid. Your mind will always choose comfort over truth. It will keep you distracted, chasing, consuming, because facing this directly forces you to question everything. Your goals, your identity, your direction, and that's uncomfortable. But if this is making you uncomfortable right now, that's a good sign. It means you're finally seeing something real. So what do you do with this? You don't escape the world. You don't reject everything. That's not the answer. Even Solomon didn't say that. He said something much subtler. Enjoy what exists, but don't expect it to complete you. Appreciate the small things, the simple moments, the present. Not because they will satisfy you completely, but because they are temporary gifts, not ultimate solutions. Your problem is not that you want more, it's that you expect more to finally be enough. The shift happens when you stop expecting this world to give you what it was never designed to give you, and at the same time, you stop running from the deeper question that the emptiness is pointing to. Because maybe that emptiness is not the end of meaning. Maybe it's the beginning of it. Before you leave, take a moment. If this made you think differently, like the video, subscribe to the channel and stay close, because most people will go back to distraction, but a few will start to see clearly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.